Hello and welcome to eLagaan Whiteboard Fridays, where we look at various tax and compliance related issues in a user-friendly fashion. Today we will look at what are the various kinds of directors that can be there in a company and in a private limited or an or a public limited company, and what is the method of their appointment. So how do you go ahead and appointing that? We will not look at in detail, we will look at in very brief about the types. We will not go into more details about roles and responsibilities. We will cover that in probably another video. So the first and the most common one is just a director, that is a very plain director. So a director is actually appointed by the shareholders of the company. Nobody else has the authority to appoint except during incorporation. You mention that who is going to be the first directors of the company. If nothing is mentioned, then the persons who are the shareholders or who subscribes to memorandum and article are deemed to be the first directors of the company. So that's about the first director, which is appointed by the shareholders. Now there is something called additional director. So during the normal running of business, whenever you want to induct anybody as a new director into the company, as we typically call we have to take this person as a director, they are actually appointed as an additional director. And to appoint an additional director, the board of directors should be empowered to do so through the articles of association. So if they have been empowered to appoint any person as director, then they can do so, but they can only appoint a person as an additional director. Now once a person is appointed as an additional director, his appointment has to be regularized in the next AGM, that is the annual general meeting, or you have to call an EGM, that is extraordinary general meeting, which is essentially both AGM and EGM is meeting of shareholders, where shareholders actually decide whether to appoint or not. Remember, as I told, a director can only be appointed by the shareholders. So even if any person is appointed, so for example alternate director, so his appointment would be regularized. When you say regularized, he will move from additional director to director or become a director with the company after if all the shareholders approve in the AGM or EGM. Until that time he would continue to be the additional director. One more important thing, his term is only from the date of appointment as additional director till the next AGM or EGM happens. So in the next AGM or EGM, it is mandatory to pass a resolution either regularizing him or to reject his candidature. If it doesn't happen, his directorship automatically ceases to exist in the company even as an additional director. Appropriate filings has to be made with the ROC. Both during appointment and even after regularizing, or even if he ceases to exist as additional director, that also filings has to be made with ROC. Now comes alternate director. So as the name suggests, this is generally a person who is alternate to an existing director. So this is again a temporary position. So if a director is traveling outside India for more than 3 months, and if you want, then he can appoint somebody else as an alternate director in his place. So if the company agrees, and if any of the director is traveling outside India for more than 3 months, then only a person can be appointed as an alternate director to a particular director. Now once the director comes back, he ceases to be, when the original director comes back, the alternate director ceases to be a director. Again, appropriate filings has to be made with ROC to both while inducting and even seizing the alternate directorship of a particular person. Now comes independent director. So this typically is not applicable for private limited companies. It is only mandatory for public limited companies. An independent director is a person who consents to act as a director on the board, but there are a couple of conditions. One, the proposed independent director should not have any financial implication or transactions with the company or even with any of the key managerial persons. So key managerial persons are people like managing director or a whole-time director or even company secretary, CEO, CFO. These are few designations which has been identified as key managerial person. So an independent director should not have any financial interest in the company or in any of the key managerial person or their other entities kind of thing. Otherwise that director is not treated as an independent director. So the process is same if you have identified as an independent director. Again, either he can be appointed as an additional director first and then regularized to be a director. A managing director is a person who manages the whole source. So as I mentioned, the managing director is part of a key managerial person. So he is entrusted with day-to-day activity of the business. So he should be aware of it and he should be managing the show. Then only a person should be a managing director. At a time, it is not allowed to be a managing director in more than 2 companies. So that's a limit specified, and a person may not be in whole-time employment of the company. So a managing director may or may not be an employee of the company, and he may not be a full-time person. But if you are a managing director, managing the day-to-day activities and more importantly responsibilities for day-to-day activities lies on your shoulders. So you would be responsible for that. One more important thing is a managing director should be resident in India. So in any particular year he should not be residing for more than 180 days outside India. So only a person who is resident, again this is for residency, not for citizenship. So a foreigner can also be a managing director, but he should be residing in India. That's what a managing director is. A whole-time director and a managing director are something very similar. The major difference is you can only be a whole-time director in only one company at a given point of time. That is the limit. Secondly, the whole-time director should be a whole-time employee of the company. So he should be under employment and he should be working full-time with that particular company. So whole-time director is also identified as one of the key managerial person, and he is also entrusted with running the day-to-day activities of the business. So that's about whole-time director. There is also something called nominee director, and this typically happens when somebody nominates a particular person to be director or to represent them on their behalf on the board of directors. So for example, it could be banks or financial institutions from whom you have taken a loan, or it could be even investments, or it could be even group of shareholder or any specific shareholder. He can nominate a particular person to represent them, and that's why they are called nominee directors. So these are the broad set of directors. Any particular person to be appointed as director can be appointed only through shareholders. Rest all board of directors can appoint, but again they have to follow the same ladder. Like even if you are identifying a person to act as an MD or a WTD, which is whole-time director, he has to be first appointed as an additional director and then regularized as a director. Or if you want to appoint him directly as a MD, then first his or her candidature should be presented in the AGM or EGM, and if the shareholders approve, they can directly be appointed as managing director and whole-time director. One more important thing, the various terms and conditions of being an MD or a whole-time director, like what are his roles, responsibility, what are the things he is responsible for, there should be in a written contract, and that contract should be signed and kept at the registered office. This is a very important piece of document which actually defines what are the roles and responsibilities of a managing director or a whole-time director and what are the works he is entrusted with. So that's it in eLagaan Whiteboard Friday today. Thanks for attending the same. Feel free to drop us an email at support@eLagaan.com or check out our website knowledge base at eLagaan.com/kb. Thank you.